Hello Internet, and welcome back to more Kirby Superstar Ultra. In the last episode, we took out the first game mode involving new content for the DS remake. This time, we begin Meta Nightmare Ultra. That cool knight's reappeared. Defeat foes to store power, then touch the screen to use abilities. He trains as he journeys. Bring a sword knight with you to the comet at Galaxy's End. That little piece of text about bringing a sword knight with you to the comet at Galaxy's Edge, trust me when I say, it doesn't mean anything. It genuinely means nothing. So let's begin. Alright. KO foes to store power. Touch icons on the lower screen to use skills. Mach Tornado, 30 points, damage all foes on the screen. Heal, recover health. Meta Quick increases speed, and Night Call calls a friend to fight by your side. This is a sequel to a game mode in Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland called Meta Nightmare, where you play through all the levels in the game as Meta Knight. This is a time attack, so you are trying to get the best possible time you can. I don't really have anything to compare this to, other than maybe my test playthrough. Most important things to go over regarding Meta Knight. If an enemy would give you a copy ability, you get 2 points for defeating it. If it doesn't give you a copy ability, you would get 1 point for defeating it. Bosses give you larger orbs that give you 5 points. Points can be used to use either Meta Quick, which lets you go very fast, Night Call, which spawns either a Blade Knight or a Sword Knight, which is a new helper that we probably won't be seeing because, again, helpers suck. We can heal for 10 points, which I actually need right now because I'm playing recklessly. And we'll be showing Mach Tornado soon. I'm not going to be showing the entirety of this game mode because a lot of it is just going to be retreading old ground and there's not a lot to say. However, I will cut around to points of interest, so yeah. We'll be showing Mach Tornado as soon as possible, but unfortunately we can't use it yet against Wispy Woods. First time using Mach Tornado is going to be against Lololo and Lalala. Not only does it have this really long badass animation, but it can 1- or 2-shot most bosses. You better believe this is used in the speedrun despite its extremely long cutscene. It's a very good ability. It's essentially a screen nuke that you only have to beat 15 enemies to be able to use. And that's assuming that you're, like, that is assuming that you're beating only enemies that give you copy abilities, but that's not that far-fetched. And besides, there are also plenty of mini-bosses along the way. By the way, Mach Tornado one-shots most mini-bosses. So yeah, it's definitely worth using. You would be surprised how much time it can save if you effectively don't have to fight bosses. You know, I actually don't know if tornadoes can, like, rip through clouds, but if so, this is surprisingly scientifically accurate. And here's that Redditor's theory finally getting put to the test. Meta Knight finally has a chance to overthrow King Dedede. Will he use that power to rule Dreamland? The answer is no. Okay, Sword Knight is kind of making this a joke because every time King Dedede is about to attack, he just interrupts him. So every game mode is essentially treated as a level, so we just beat level 1, and we beat it in 3 minutes, 35 seconds, and 87 milliseconds. Not bad. After each one you get a save area, and then you have to move on to the next. Next up, Dynablade. So in terms of how he controls, Meta Knight is very similar to Kirby, specifically Sword Kirby. No shit, but I mean, genuinely, like, all of his attacks are pretty much ripped directly from Sword Kirby. It's worth noting he does have this upward attack from the ground that is very powerful and good for taking out enemies that are in the air. Very easy to forget about, but it's a good attack. But not only is he very similar to Kirby, but if future me would cut ahead to when I can actually show the next thing about Meta Knight. His sword has longer reach than Sword Kirby, so he can actually break bomb blocks through walls. His sword also has unlimited utility, basically. If there is something that Kirby needs a specific ability to access, Meta Knight does not need that. His sword has the ability to do all of it. This is pretty much the first game where we learn that Meta Knight's abilities come from his sword. It's not, like, directly stated, and I'm not going to say that that is ultimately the truth, but, like, look at the bottom screen, if you will. All the points are going directly into Meta Knight's sword, and that's how he uses all of his abilities. His sword is called Galaxia. That's not ever stated in this game, but it is in future games when Kirby wields it. It is pretty much the most powerful sword in Kirby, as far as I know, other than, like, the ultimate sword from Superstar. It's called the Master Sword, and yeah, it's called the Master Sword in Amazing Mirror, though, so like when Kirby uses it, so yeah, it's a pretty damn good sword. It also makes sense as to why Meta Knight would have it, considering he seems to go wherever there is danger to Dreamland. Like in Amazing Mirror, he's the first to show up. And then creates Dark Meta Knight, and then all the stuff that happens in that game happens. I don't really like Amazing Mirror. I'm not going to go into that here. This isn't a Let's Play of Amazing Mirror, this is a Let's Play of Superstar Ultra. But let it be known, I myself, not a big fan of that one. Dynablade is kind of a joke during Meta Nightmare Ultra because you can just spam Mach Tornado on all the bosses, and since all the bosses in Dynablade are pretty much mini-bosses, it's a one-shot every time. I finally got Sword Knight as a partner. He's literally identical to Blade Knight in every way in terms of, like, how he fights as a partner. It's just cool that, like, you get a second partner, especially because I believe Sword Knight was actually part of Meta Knight's, like, friend circle in the anime. It was, like, Meta Knight, Blade Knight, and Sword Knight all hung out together. Yeah, Galaxia can even light this fuse. There's no point in going through that. Like, the Maxim Tomato's not there, and I don't think you'll need 1-ups for this game. I haven't died a single time yet, and we're only going through the stages that were in the original Kirby Superstar, so we don't have to worry about Revenge of the King or anything. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll grab 1-ups where they're easy to get, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get them if they're unnecessary. I just realized Meta Knight doesn't have his cape. He doesn't have his cape in this or in Revenge of Meta Knight. That's why he's always looked so weird to me in this. He doesn't have, like, the most essential element of his design. That's a shame. Man, capes are so cool. I've been of the opinion for a while now that capes should come back into, like, into style. I think all our politicians should be wearing capes, like, mandatorily. It's just, like, they're so cool. Maybe his cape would just be too hard to animate with him constantly running around, I don't know. Seven and a half minutes roughly for Dynablade. That's not great, but okay. So the story of this game mode is that Meta Knight is training to become stronger, and something interesting to note is that there is only one character who has canonically defeated Meta Knight up to this point. Kirby. And himself, if we're counting Amazing Mirror and Dark Meta Knight as an entity that is of equal strength to the real Meta Knight, but it's interesting to note that because what is Meta Knight going to do to train? Everything that Kirby has done. We are only going through things that Kirby himself has gone through, so yeah, I didn't mean to go through this. They still make you go through all of the Great Cave Offensive, and it's all designed the exact same way, but there's no treasures this time, so yeah, there's no point in like doing all these puzzles and everything. They'll just slow you down. If you know where a treasure is and you really need food, then you can go for them, I guess, but like, they're overall a pretty big waste of time here. There's no save rooms or anything. Like, there's minor differences like that all across things. If there's things that would only affect Kirby's playthrough of a game, they won't be present. Like in Dynablade, the like hidden room switches aren't present. But yes, like, because of the way Great Cave Offensive is designed, it's really not conducive to like Meta Nightmare Ultra. These levels are designed to be much more like open. Like you can go through them at like your own pace as you get all the treasures and everything. And considering Meta Nightmare Ultra is all about getting a good time, I don't know, it doesn't feel correct. Wait, why does Meta Knight have his cape when he's in the minecart? Oh, the inconsistency is gonna kill me. Who knows, maybe it's like Star Wars, where they always take off the robes before they have like a major duel. Also, Sword Knight completely just got kidnapped and I completely ignored it. That's unfortunate. But yeah, maybe it's like Star Wars, where they always take off their capes before a like important duel against Count Dooku. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't understand why they did that, because like they just looked cooler with the robes, I guess. But like, now that I'm an adult, like, I can kind of see how the cape would get in the way. Not so much for Meta Knight, considering he was the most overpowered character in Smash Bros. Brawl while still having the cape. Like, his body shape, along with the fact that he is 2D animation, you know, the cape would be kind of, like, not that in the way. Also, yes, we are still fighting the easy version here, so... Oh. Fire spell, okay. I stopped guarding, I don't know why, but... Let's see how much Mach Tornado does. 100 HP. We beat the Magician. Meta Knight gets unique stat bonuses here from Kirby. 172 EXP. Charisma went up by 3. Beauty went up by 5. Flashiness went up by 5. Your Courage went up by 1. Your Mask Shine went up by 2. The Sword Sharpness went up by 1. And that's it. I believe there are more unique ones when we fight Computer Virus later on in Milky Way Wishes as well. There are no entrances to the old tower this time. They're blocked off. So you get to skip the entire thing, and that is one of the most fucking powerful feelings I've felt in a while, not having to go back in there. At the final level of the Great Cave Offensive, this is the game's last chance to make me feel the pain of the original playthrough. Yeah, you can't even get to that ninja treasure using Metaquick, so Meta Knight can't even get that treasure. They didn't even bother putting food there to replace it. Also, in all these forks in the road that are in Great Cave Offensive, they just completely got rid of the wrong paths. Which makes this officially the shortest level in Great Cave Offensive. I wonder if they put anything where the Triforce was, at least. Because you'd have to, like, really go out of your way to grab this. A banana. It is 3 yellow things, to be completely fair. That's a pretty good trade for the Triforce. So those only give 1, but I kind of want to try Mach Tornado against Wham Bam Rock. And they do respawn infinitely, so... Oh, never mind, that one gave me 2. Okay. Let's see how much this does against Wham Bam Rock. Not bad. Not bad at all. He didn't get any damage on me, so... yeah. And this ride doesn't feel the same without Poppy Bros Jr. It's just not the same. Also, it's actually faster to not use the minecarts and just use Metaquick. Unfortunately, there's no faster way to get through those elevators, though. We are now on to level 4. Revenge of Meta Knight. Okay, so what is Meta Knight's budget? He could just completely remake the halberd just to get on board and destroy it the same way Kirby did? Meta Knight, why are you so rich? What did you do? He's an investor in crypto. He's a crypto bro. He has too much stock in the NFT market. Meta Knight is not a guy that you want to trust. So this fight against Heavy Lobster, we can actually win now, I believe, so... yeah. Let's win. This is literally identical to the fight against Heavy Lobster earlier in the game, so... later in the game, but also earlier. Except we can win this time. I believe you can technically win that fight with Kirby. Probably have to do mix to get Hammer and then get really lucky with RNG or something. If you do win, you probably just sit there until it sends you to the next level anyway, because there's nowhere you can really go from there. This genuinely doesn't, like, this is the reason I said the story of this one makes no sense. Because Kirby is pretty good at, like, storytelling without using words. I'd say Superstar Ultra is not a great example of that. Just because so many of these games have really simple plots because obviously they're from the SNES. And Kirby games as a whole have really simple plots, don't get me wrong. Like, yes, the lore of Kirby is disgustingly deep, but overall the plots are very simple. Just of, like, the games on their own without taking all the, like, lore into account. My point is more, like, there's no way in hell Meta Knight is going to destroy the halberd for training. It's just not gonna happen. But, like, also Meta Knight gets the halberd back again later. How many times can he afford to destroy this thing? Because, let me stress, Meta Nightmare Ultra is canon. Things that happen in Meta Nightmare Ultra that don't happen in other places in Kirby Superstar that we'll be seeing later, happen multiple times! Oh, they come back in future Kirby games. It's just like, I wish they added, like, some sort of dialogue, at least to the cutscenes, because they completely remade Kirby's cutscenes for Meta Knight. Whatever. I'll take my anger out on Wispy Woods again. And on Twin Woods, don't worry. They aren't gonna be left out. That obliterated them, okay. Meta Knight's crew signed up for this too. Like, we know that Meta Knight cares about his crew enough to evacuate the halberd when it's about to fall from Revenge of Meta Knight. He's not nice enough to do the same this time around. He takes his training seriously. But his crew signed up to be fucking destroyed. We know Meta Knight is good with, like, you know, his crew. We also know that apparently Meta Knight is known for his charisma, considering he got a stat increase in that. So maybe he just made it sound really beneficial to them that they would all die during his training. I don't know. Maybe Meta Knight told them just some terrible things that made them want to sign up to die. In which case, yeah, Meta Knight strikes me as an Xbox gamer, so... I'm sorry if you're an Xbox gamer, but that's like my favorite demographic to make fun of, so... That will not be the first or last time on this channel. It might be the first time, but it won't be the last. Alright. How much will this do to main cannon number 2? How much am I gonna have to do myself? Nice! I didn't expect that to one-shot, but I'm not complaining. I think Mr. Frosty is the boss of this level, so I don't have to worry about Mach Tornado. I can just grab as many points as I can here. And then not use them. Actually, I'm pretty sure Mr. Frosty might actually be... No, the reactor is the final boss, but we don't fight Meta Knight again. I'm just gonna spoil that now. Unfortunately, you don't have a Meta Knight on Meta Knight duel. Wow. Actually, this level and the last level are treated as the same thing now. The music didn't even get interrupted there. Alright. We are gonna fight Heavy Lobster next, I believe. Which is fine, I can manage that. I'm too curious to see what's in the armory now that there's no power-ups. Or copy abilities. Just a lot of melons and chicken and a candy cane, I guess. Alright. Running from Heavy Lobster is pretty much the same deal as last time, except we don't have hammer, so we have to get through it with Meta Knight's powers. Which actually is a little bit easier than hammer, probably, because Meta Knight has the utility of all the different abilities in the game. We can also hit Heavy Lobster. I don't think that actually affects his health for the boss fight, though. I'm curious if we can actually destroy him, because he doesn't have a health bar, so probably not. It's worth noting that for any screen nukes or anything, don't use them until a boss fight starts, because unfortunately, if a health bar hasn't spawned, then the enemy is not going to take any damage from anything. We unfortunately can't blind Heavy Lobster this time. I don't know how we didn't get hit by that flamethrower, but okay. I'm gonna get myself shot upward so I don't have to do any more cannons. Okay. Here's the wind. This just isn't the same without Waddle Dee. Waddle Dee's sweet voice in my mind, which I translate into a less sweet voice in real life. Waddle Dee is just so cute, man. He's my son. Waddle Dee is my son. I'm gonna activate Meta Quick here. There we go. Meta Quick was actually pretty helpful there. There's a switch down here that I have to hit. Meta Quick is like not very consistent with how long it takes, it feels like. Or, like how long it goes on. Feels like last time I used it, it went on a lot longer. Secret Stash only has a peppermint and a 1-up now. Headcanon is now that Kirby isn't a mint person, which is good because I'm not either. Mint is disgusting and I hate it. Okay. Here's the reactor. This is literally the same boss that you fought as Kirby because, you know, it can only hurt itself. Unfortunately, we can't really do anything with Mach Tornado. Except destroy these floor traps, maybe. Let's see. Wait! That damages the reactor? Learn something new every day. 11 minutes, 99 milliseconds. That's actually a pretty cool time. On to the final level, Milky Way Wishes. The Sun and the Moon may not be fighting, but Meta Knight still is. This is the first mode where we're going to be seeing any major differences, and we aren't actually going to be seeing it until the very end, so I'll just cut around to anything interesting that happens, if anything. But otherwise, I'll see y'all for the final boss of Revenge of Meta Knight, or Meta Nightmare Ultra specifically, not of the game. Trust me when I say if you have 50 points when you reach the computer virus this time, you aren't going to want to use Mach Tornado even on a Great Dragon. Just trust me, it's a good idea to keep 50 points or at least 30 points banked for the final boss. Which obviously takes place immediately after this. For beating the second computer virus, our Mass Shine went up by 4, Spirit went up by 5, Courage went up by 2, Foot Speed went up by 3, that's not true, Dreaminess went up by 1, the Sword Sharpness went up by 4. Ready. I will grant you one wish. My one wish is to become stronger, so I wish to fight the greatest warrior in the galaxy. Okay. You will now fight a warrior who was sealed away for fear his power was too great. I will now summon this great warrior once more. 3, 2, 1, go! The final boss of Meta Nightmare Ultra, Galactonite. We're gonna open up the fight with a Mach Tornado just to see how much it will do. Not even close to half his health. This has by far the most HP of any boss throughout Kirby Superstar Ultra. For all we know. Occasionally he will stop to spawn some enemies, and for the most part this is just a harder version of the Meta Knight fight from Revenge of Meta Knight. He behaves very similar to Meta Knight, where he will occasionally just get close to you and back away for no reason. Just to psych you out. He can shoot shockwaves like that. He has this attack where you want to go in a clockwise motion around him in order to avoid it. That one's kind of hard to get used to. Twice in a row with that one. Okay, buddy. This can be a very hard fight. Like, it's not easy by any means. This is where the game is starting to really feel like a game that is not made for children. More on that later. I have a lot to say regarding that because, like, obviously the popular opinion is Kirby is a kid's game. It's meant for kids, it's colorful, it's playful. Until the final boss, usually, which, yeah, we can say for Kirby Superstar as well with Marks. I'm gonna take that free heal. This is harder to avoid than Meta Knight's, like, little tornado attack he does. That's not his Mach Tornado. Galactonite does have a Mach Tornado, he's just not using it. If we pause right now, there is actually a description for any original bosses from Superstar. I didn't show these during the King DDD, Revenge of the King. I'll be showing those ones during at a different time. But for Galactonite, this legend was sealed away long ago because of his power. He defies time to challenge you. There's lore related to Galactonite that I don't know. I'm not going to be going over it because there are more qualified people. There are literally channels on this website that are dedicated to Kirby lore. If you want to know more about Galactonite, go to them. All I know is he's fucking badass, and also he appears as a costume in Smash Bros. Ultimate for Meta Knight. Jesus. Okay. At least he didn't use Mach Tornado at all. Cleared it in 46 minutes, 19 seconds, and 48 milliseconds, which isn't the worst. It's probably better than my time on my test playthrough. Actually, maybe not. I actually have a picture of my time on my test playthrough. I can look at that right now. I will look at that right now. Future me, cut ahead to when I find that. My test playthrough, my clear time was 55 minutes, 20 seconds, and 70 milliseconds. How did I go faster this time when I was commentating? That just doesn't make any sense. Okay. Thanks again for watching Kirby Superstar Ultra. That's kind of final this time. There is no more original content in this game, per se. We've seen pretty much everything it has to offer, except for one thing. And there's 2 game modes left, so I guess you could technically say 2 things. But as far as, like, seeing new things goes, there's one completely new thing to see, and that's it. So, yeah. That feels bizarre. How many episodes has it been? I don't even know how many episodes it's been. Let's see, it was 1 episode for the first 2 games, it was 3 for Great Cave Offensive, 3 for Milky Way Wishes. I'm not gonna try to do that, actually. Well, that's 8. Whatever. I'm not gonna try to do the math now, it doesn't matter how many episodes it's been, but I feel like it's been a lot longer than it has. I've only recorded, like, there's been like 4 sessions of recording for me to get to this point. But yeah, I mean, that's only 4 people on artwork and 3 on artwork support. Jeez, that's impressive. This game is beautiful. But yeah, there's not a lot to go over now. We've seen pretty much everything. Obviously this isn't the finale, and there is a little bit of new stuff to see. There's also the sub-games, which we haven't gone over yet, which we will be going over. We're getting new images that we haven't seen before here. There's Meta Knight destroying Kirby, and a Monowai. I can't even tell what some of these images are. There's Marks. Love that guy. Marks is a really good final boss. I love him. Who's next? The Fountain of Dreams with Meta Knight at it, it looks like. Galactonite. Love that guy. There's Meta Knight again. Love that guy. He's awesome. When would he ever take his mask off by choice? That's not in his character. But yeah, anyway. That's it for the credits, again. I'm surprised that the credits actually seamlessly transition from the bottom screen to the top screen. Not many games, like, knew how to do that on the DS. Like, there are countless games where the transition just looks weird. but still, even with Meta Knight flying around like that, the credits insist that there is more. The bonus movie Fly Meta Knight is now in theater, and we can now play the nostalgic Samurai Kirby. So, let's watch that Fly Meta Knight cutscene in a second. First try. Occasionally, when you play the game and start it up, the intro cutscene will not feature Kirby anymore, but Meta Knight. This is the Fly Meta Knight cutscene. However, this is also a good chance to finally show the event theater, so let's do that. I now give you Fly Meta Knight without my voice over it. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, next time on Kirby Superstar Ultra, we have one game mode on the board that isn't a sub-game that we have not played yet. Helper to Hero. Apparently it's very difficult, but it's not. It's not that hard, don't worry. If you beat the arena, you won't have trouble with it. See you guys then.